All right, everyone. Hello again. Um, in this video, we're going to talk about the Opportunities tab. Now, Opportunities tab is located just beneath the Referrals tab and just above Campaigns over on your left-hand tool pane there. I will preface this video with this fact. If you are using a transaction coordinator or especially if you are using Keller Williams Bellevue's in-house transaction coordinator, this is a tab that you won't touch much. And here's why. Part of the job of a transaction coordinator is to make sure that everything that happens in your transaction is completed on time and in compliance. Your Opportunities tab has an element that starts kind of before you get things under contract, but once things are under contract, your TC kind of takes over and kind of finishes it out from here. For example, Morrison Associates uses Raina Edwards currently in our office as our transaction coordinator. What I do as an admin is I just put people into opportunities and then she moves them along in the process. And so she keeps everything up to date. She keeps the paperwork with it. And so I will say that this video is going to be a little bit more basic than you could probably get with opportunities, simply because I haven't had the need to, loop things in with dot loop and such. With that though, if you click on the Opportunities tab, you can kind of see your overall, start to finish for listings, buyers, and leases. Morrison Associates does not do leases, so I won't be really going into that much today. But it kind of follows the same basic principle as listings and buyers anyway. Up at the top, you see Morrison Associates. However, if you are a single agent, you will see your name. And that will just show you everything that you have under your name. You also have an All Opportunities tab, which kind of takes you to all of your opportunities in list form. You also have, basically all discussions, which discussions are, just messages you send back and forth between your team. We don't discuss much over command because my team consists of my fiance and my future mother-in-law. So we do plenty of discussing outside of command. But going back to the main page here, you can kind of see, like for example in listings, there's kind of a timeline here. And zoomed out, these timelines are, pretty much the same. You have Cultivate, Appointment, Active, Under Contract, and Closed for both listings and buyers. You can see here the projected income and probable income from all of my current opportunities that I have in here. I will say, before you think that Morrison Associates is, before you assume our numbers, my numbers on my profile do not reflect Morrison Associates' actual numbers. So just kind of keep that in mind. Again, my profile is sort of more of a guinea pig profile than anything. But let's just click on Cultivate in the listings. Once you click on Cultivate, you'll notice that, or any of them, you'll notice that they kind of change, and rather than seeing it in timeline form, you see them as tabs at the top of your screen here. And each one has two or three different categories within themselves. This is what separates the listings from the buyers. For example, in Cultivate, if you create an opportunity with a contact, you can put them into a Cultivate tab where you can either watch or nurture them, or if they're a hot lead. Once you've made an appointment, you can, if you're in the process of trying to make an appointment, you can move them to scheduling. Once they're scheduled, you can move them to scheduled. And once you've made the appointment and it's come and gone, you can move them to kept. If they turn into an active client, for example, in our team, we have the clients Bright Stern. You will see that they are, we just got a signed listing agreement with them. You'll see that they're in staging and pre-listing. Once they move to an active status, their house is now under showing and negotiation. And then they'll eventually move to under contract. We now have another property that is under contract. And so, in under contract, you've got escrow and inspections, appraisal and financing, and you're clear to close. Once you're closed, you move it to the close tab, but then at the very end, you move it to legacy to make sure it gets removed as a completed file through your opportunities tab and make sure everything gets submitted. Like I said, I don't do much of the documentation uploading for listings. I also don't do much documentation uploading for buyers, but I'll take you through those steps too because they're slightly different. Again, with Cultivate, you have watch, nurture, and hot. With Appointment, you have scheduling, scheduled, and kept. Active, though, they are searching and showing. They're going through negotiations. If they're under contract or in escrow inspections, appraisal and financing, clear to close. As you can see, we have another buyer that just went under contract actually last night. And as a result, they're in escrow and inspections at the moment. And once they're closed, they move to the close tab and again to legacy. Basically, I'm going to show you how to set up an opportunity. I am going to take this time to say that if you have the bandwidth to hire our Market Center's in-house transaction coordinator, do so. She does charge a fee, but the fee in respect to your sanity is pretty good. Although, with that, I would also recommend that you still know what she does, so that way you can, keep up with it and also learn in the event that you don't have a transaction coordinator in the future, that you still know what this process is without having to relearn it all. But I'm just going to show you kind of what I do to kind of get our transaction coordinator started and what you can do to get started with your opportunities. So over on the right-hand side, you can create an opportunity. You can also do this by going to a specific contact in your contacts list, and then over in the right-hand pane, it has, your tasks and your notes and such. There'll be a tab that says opportunities, and you can create an opportunity straight from the contact. But for now, we're creating one straight out of the opportunities tab. So you're going to go through, and again, I'm on a team, so this will be slightly different as far as the setup goes, but not horribly different. It should automatically come up with Bellevue as your market center. The team, in our case, is Morrison Associates, and because I'm on a team, I have to select an owner. I have to assign an owner. And our team, it's going to be one of the two agents on my team, either Janice or Sean. We're just going to leave it as Janice for now. And basically what the owner is that's who's owning the contact, that's who the contact is. Now, if you are a solo agent, your name will appear there and you won't be able to change it. So that's pretty easy. You're going to list the opportunity type. In this case, it's going to be a listing. And then you're going to go down here to a client. Again, I'm going to type in my dummy name. And if I had so in my profile, if you remember, Sean is my partner. As a result, if I had a co-seller, Sean is going to show up, and he shows up with a heart in mine because I synced him with my phone back in the day. My phone has a little heart emoji next to his name. But it will automatically pop up as a spouse or a partner as a co-seller. You don't have to put a co-seller. In the buyer's opportunity, this will say client and co-buyer. And same thing here. You don't have to put a co-buyer in there, but if there is two people on the transaction, I would put a co-buyer in there. Here's where you can change the opportunity name. Especially, I like just to put last name dash listing or last name dash buyer, just because you can. It's easier to kind of hyphenate, and it's easier to keep track of that way. Putting just one first name, like it said before, Curtis Smith listing. If Sean's a co-seller, I want to know that Sean's on there too. Any custom tags you want to add, similar to adding tags for your contacts list. If you have any specific tags you want to tag these as, I typically don't use tags for opportunities. The estimated close date. Let's just say, and today is June 28th, 2020. So we are going to probably go live this coming Friday, which is going to be the 3rd of July. So I'll just do an offer review date probably the Wednesday after. So, 28 days after that would be roughly, let's just say August 7th. Estimated list price, we're going to go on at $650,000 with a commission rate of whatever you've discussed, 3%, 2.5%, that's really up to you. And where are we in the opportunity? So here's where you can kind of start them out. If you are the type of person that is organized enough to where you have gotten to know a contact and you've gotten into them and they've mentioned at some point in the year they want to buy or sell, you can add them to Cultivate into like a watch or a nurture or a hot category. Our team, we don't have enough of those kinds of people to really throw them in here. And when we do, they typically go from 0 to 60 really fast. And so they're not really put into opportunities until I have them in sort of until they're active. So I'm going to put active here, and then we're going to be in staging and pre-listing here because we're in active listing. And then who all on my team is assigned this opportunity? Since I'm on a team, I'm selecting everyone. And yes, I'm on here twice. I don't really know why that is, but I'm on here twice. And this just allows, if I'm a team, this allows all of us that are assigned to be able to see this transaction from our profiles. If for some reason you're on a team and you don't like sharing that information, just make sure that it's not assigned to someone you don't want it to go to. Once it's all created, you just kind of double check everything and you hit create. It'll kind of take you to the profile that you've just created automatically, so don't freak out. If you want to go back to the timelines you were just looking at, you would just hit the back button up here, the sales pipeline, listing and active. But here is basically what you put in. This is the basic information needed to start an opportunity. So this is a listing one, so you can still put some more information in here. So for example, if I hit edit, you have most of the information that you've just gone through. And then you can put in here like what's the time frame here? Well, a listing typically takes a month. If they're a buyer and they're searching over the next 3 or 6 months, you can put them in here as well. When was their appointment scheduled? Was it scheduled for June 17th? Awesome. When did the actual appointment occur? It got delayed 2 days, June 19th. When was the agreement won? We won it on June 19th. The contract date. This is when we go under contract. And once we go mutual, this will be the contract date that it starts. This would be the contract close date, obviously. And, estimated list price. This is estimated. You can always update this. Like, say we listed for $650, but we actually went for $702. You can come in here and fill that in and redo that, and it will recalculate your potential GCI. Now, I will say your projected GCI over here, or your commission right here. Yes, that's your projected commission. That is before any fees that you owe the market center, any taxes, any donations that you do, any transaction coordination or admin pay that you have set up. That is the total GCI that you could possibly get before everything's deducted. So just because this says down here that you're getting that's just 3% of 702. That does not mean that you're going to get a check for $21,060. So this is why we all encourage you to cap as soon as you can, because this number will get closer and closer by the time you cap. So anyway, you can also go in and you can add the property address if you want to. You can add the seller worksheet, seller closing costs, etc., over on here. I typically don't touch this. This is something that my transaction coordinator does, and then she uploads all those documents. But Yes, and you can also add the listing itself from this list if you'd like to. This is from the KWLS. Anyway, going back to opportunities, you can now see here that I now have 2 active. In the volume of active, in the active column, it equals 1.5 million. The average time so far in the active zone is 17.9 days. And under contract, we have one property that's at 575, and it's on, on the average time under contract is 12.8 days. Again, our numbers are a little skewed because this is a dummy profile. We've only recently been adding our listings and buyers to my profile. And then anything closed. This is what we've closed so far, and obviously doesn't take any time to close. It takes a day. This is the potential income that you have through what's coming down the pipe, and this is the probable income of what you'll more than likely get after your, this is adjusted based on each stage's probability to close. So basically, if you noticed in this particular tab, you have percentages here. This is the percentage of likelihood that it's going to move down the line. Again, our numbers are skewed because I don't use this profile very often for this sort of thing. But you can see here that based on the fact that, previous, things that have happened, this income will more than likely be this income. But I'm pretty proud to say that Morrison Associates doesn't lose a buyer, or we haven't lost any listings since I've been employed with them, and we've only lost, 1 or 2 buyers. And so you just kind of keep in mind that this is just a sort of a way to help you average and help you budget your upcoming expenses. Buyers are the exact same way as listings. And so same thing, you just do new opportunity, only you create a buyer and then you move them down the line. Leases, like I said, we don't do much with them, but from my understanding, they are the exact same process. And that's pretty much all you really need to know. I guess at the bottom here, you've got your ratio. You basically your maps, or sorry, your numbers for the amount of listings that you've had versus buyers, the profitable potentials and everything. Basically, just all of this just roped into one, and this will show you a graph of kind of where you're at and how many opportunities you've had during each of these months and whether or not your business is growing or not. So it's kind of a nice way to see it from a perspective. But anyway, that's all for the opportunities tab. Thanks for listening.